As you know, the burden of non-communicable disease is rising in low and middle-income countries. It is estimated that between 75 to 80% of the burden of NCDs actually occurs in low and middle-income countries. The two most common types are cardiovascular diseases and cancer. For cardiovascular disease, though, some people are estimating that its prevalence is even much higher in younger people in low and middle-income countries. The most significant factor that is propelling the epidemic of cardiovascular disease in these countries is actually hypertension or high blood pressure. The good news is that we know what to do when it comes to treating hypertension. The bad news is that the implementation of these strategies to curb the burden of hypertension in these countries is suboptimal. In some countries, hypertension remains uncontrolled in about 80% of those that are afflicted by it. So we've got to do something about that. So now we have two challenges. How do we implement evidence-based strategies to control hypertension in low-income countries? The second problem, how do we increase the capacity of the healthcare workforce to actually target implementation research? In order to address these two problems, the National Heart, Lung and Blood Institute in 2017 funded investigators from 8 countries to tackle both problems. 5 of the countries were funded to tackle the issue of coming up with innovative strategies, or what we call innovative implementation strategies, for the adoption of these evidence-based practices in those countries. The countries that were funded to address those problems included Ghana, Guatemala, Vietnam, India, and Kenya. The Institute also funded 3 other countries to tackle the issue of really building the capacity to do implementation research in those countries. And those were 3 countries. We have Malawi, Rwanda, and Nepal. When you think about implementation research, the key factor is that it's a multidisciplinary discipline that actually requires investigators from a diverse background. What we know is that there's not enough exchange between investigators when it comes to tackling the issue of hypertension. So in order for that to happen, the Institute also funded global research in implementation and translational science, otherwise known as GRIT. The idea behind GRIT is that it will serve as the glue that will bring all of the investigators from these 8 countries together to actually allow them to exchange ideas on how to build capacity, as well as how to develop innovative strategies. So the platform will be working from 3 main pillars or strategic pillars. The first pillar is capacity building, the second pillar is implementation research, and the third pillar, and probably more important pillar, is dissemination. The idea being, how do we take the evidence that's developed from these countries to translate it to actually policy, practice, and to disseminate the research findings 4 or 5 years from now. I am very excited about this because it provides us the opportunity to actually collaborate on this very important problem. We are GRIT,